welcome to Living Consciously. We're calling this segment Keep Moving, which is really good advice for anybody, no matter what age you are, because it's the healthy thing to do. But it also applies to other aspects of our life. And beginning with the body, the three words that describe how the body functions at optimal levels are assimilation, circulation, and elimination. And that's because the body is a dynamic system, that it must be kept out of stasis, because stasis creates disease. When things get blocked, when things stop moving, trouble begins. So keep those three in mind: assimilation, circulation, elimination, because I believe they can relate right to a spiritual practice. Because modern spirituality is a way of life. It's not memorizing things, like we were taught to do back in the day, memorize the Golden Rule, which is good, or the 10 Commandments, or the Catechism, whatever we belong to. No, it's a way of life, and so we are given tools to use every day that help us to maintain a way of life that keeps our body functioning, our mind functioning well, happy, healthy, wealthy, and productive, and expressive. Expression is very key to a person's personal happiness. If we're not expressing ourselves, it feels like no one can see us, they can't hear us, and we're not appreciated. So that's a big part of it. Let's start, though, with assimilation, relating it to this New Thought spiritual practice. Question: what ideas do you take in? Now, this is important because what comes in, if it is not challenged or replaced with something better or more affirmative, such as the news, the news comes in. If you don't challenge it, if you don't talk back to your TV, it just all goes in there. Because your subconscious mind is like a reservoir. It's a holding tank, if you will, of ideas, beliefs, concepts, images, impressions, feelings, and emotions that we have collected, and that if they're the dominant ones tend to drive us into a certain action or response or reaction to what is going on in the world. And sometimes our responses and reactions have very little to do with what's actually happening. They're coming from those old impressions, old ideas. So what we assimilate is really important. And that's why in New Thought, we work a lot with ideas that we put the words I am in front of and affirm that they are so for us, knowing they are spiritually so and can become so in the outer world, in the physical world, as we allow them to move us into action. So something like, I am happy, wealthy, and wise. Now that's an old-fashioned one. It may seem a little lightweight, but it's actually very powerful. Because if we're not saying in our mind, or if that tape loop isn't running, if we haven't assimilated it, we've assimilated something we put I am in front of. And that's what the mind does. It self-identifies. So we might be thinking, without even knowing it, I'm disappointed, I am victimized, I am unhappy, I am this. You see? Or I am susceptible to disease. Or those are things that come from assimilating ideas we don't challenge. So let's focus this morning or today, I don't know what time it is when you're watching, on what am I willing to take in to my mind and my body that I know will produce some kind of response in me. That's important. If you ask yourself that question, maybe we'll become more mindful of what we're listening to, believing, and accepting, okay? It's okay to reject things as they come in, and you don't have to do it out loud either. So, do we take the good ideas and assimilate them, and that means do we act upon them? And that's the other aspect of spiritual practice, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about later on, circulation. A good idea is just a good idea unless we do something with it, right? So we want to act on our beliefs, act as if it were so. And what about the negative? What do you do with them? Just let them hang out or let them go. And that comes in the elimination process. I want to read you something, and I've got it here, that I write a daily blog called Living Consciously. You can get it on my website. It's also on my Facebook page. And here's just an excerpt from it. I'm just going to actually read it. It says, "The ancients told us to die every day and be reborn." Now, of course, they were referring to our awareness. They taught us to die to the past, old ideas, dysfunctional perceptions, even what was agreeable, and to awaken to possibility in this moment. It also means to reconnect with our origins, with nature, with the cosmos, to be reborn in the awareness of our brief time here and the power of our presence. And our presence is the container we walk around in of ideas, beliefs, perceptions, impressions, and whatever we have allowed to be active in this inner reservoir of possibility. I was talking to someone the other day, kind of a misguided soul from my past. And we were talking about childhoods, and he actually got a little bit agitated when I told him I had dealt with my childhood. I pretty much was over it, and it was no longer a factor in my life. And he really said, "You can't get over your childhood. It makes you who you are." No, it doesn't. It informs you about life and what can happen and other people's behaviors. It may shape your perception of yourself for a while, but it can be eliminated as far as how we've defined ourselves by it. You see, it isn't that the facts aren't there. It isn't that the memory isn't there. It's that they are no longer active because we have eliminated the self-identity that we inadvertently picked up from the experience. Does that make sense? I think so. All right. So we want to eliminate from our perception of who we are as much of the negative that we possibly can. And that's what a spiritual practice is. You know, it isn't just, a lot of people think of it as just, fooling around in the la-la land, trying to see the white light or whatever. A lot of spiritual practice is looking at yourself, looking at how you identify yourself, looking at your behaviors. Most of us have behaved badly at one time or another, or maybe a lot of times. And most of us have behaved badly towards ourselves. We've self-sabotaged. I have done that. But it's really, really healing to eliminate the sense that you have to keep acting that way. When you become aware of your behavior, it's already changeable. It's denial that causes so many problems, right? It's when we say, "Oh, no, I don't do that." When you actually say, "Wow, I've been sabotaging myself," as an example, then you can say, "Well, what is the opposite of that? How would I like to treat myself instead?" And that's when you begin to treat yourself as a guest in your heart, in your mind, and in your home. The other day, I went out and bought myself 2 big bunches of alstroemerias. Love them. And I made a beautiful arrangement, and it's on my dining room table. No big deal, but I haven't bought myself flowers in a long time. And I kind of realized that. I like the way my house looks, but I wanted flowers, so I went and got them. No big deal. But every time I look at them, I just feel so grateful for flowers, for color, for beauty. It triggers something in me that wants to be activated. The awareness of my beauty, the awareness of my colorful self, the awareness of nature in me, and that whatever created those beautiful flowers created me out of itself as well. So it's that kind of thing that I'm talking about. We want to eliminate ideas that keep us from treating ourselves well. And we begin, as I said before, with new ideas. So during the elimination process, we go back to assimilation, and we begin to affirm. I think last program we talked about gratitude, how important it is. There's really nothing like gratitude that'll get us out of a negative frame of mind as quickly as it does. It's kind of amazing. And when you're down and depressed and anxious, the last thing you feel is gratitude. But if you make yourself do it, you make yourself write a little gratitude list, in a few minutes you're going to realize, wow, life's pretty good. I could see things a little differently, and you can't help it. A lot of what goes on in us is the fear that we're not good enough. And that causes anxiety, and it causes depression. And I'm not oversimplifying. I believe that's true. Is that it's kind of a self-negation that manifests in some people as anger, and other people as sadness. It can manifest as addictions. It can manifest as rejection of life, of fear of intimacy. All those things come from how we see ourselves. So assimilate new ideas, eliminate the old ones. What is that old song by Johnny Mercer? You gotta accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. And I wish I could sing on key, but I can't. So accent the positive, eliminate the negative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. That's the next line in that song. That's a great song. We used to sing that in our Sunday services a lot because it really is a great affirmation. Okay, so there's a third part. Remember I talked about circulation. That's a big one. The last paragraph of my daily blog today said, what are we giving to this life? How will we be remembered? More importantly, how current are we in our thinking? How much past are we dragging around? What was the last time we were reborn in our own image and likeness? Yogi Berra said, it ain't over till it's over. Yeah, but even then it's just a beginning. This morning I was thinking about how every day, indeed every moment, and this is the beginning of my blog, sentient beings are entering and leaving the planet. And as I'm speaking, babies are born and people are dying. Babies are born and people are leaving. And animals are leaving. And leaves are falling from the trees and turning into mulch. And everything, the whole universe, our universe, all Earth, is a constant circulation of life forms, moving in and out of form for the joy of self-expression. And to complete the idea, it's kind of like this grand circle of expression. It's really an amazing thing when you think about it. So in some way, each of us makes our mark here. We all leave something that wasn't here before. And it's very much observable in humans because we have more capacity for influencing our environment than any other life form on the planet. That's why Thomas Troward said a little boy would rather play with a dog than a goldfish because a puppy has more ability to interact with its environment than a goldfish does. And so do we. Now, we're the ones who can contribute to our shared well-being or disrupt it. And we do a lot of disrupting on the sport, but we do a lot of contributing too. There's a great deal of positive circulations going on. So when I think of all those I have known and loved, or not loved so much, who have already left the planet, there is the realization of what each one gave to me. And, I could make a long list. The gifts that people left here, just because I knew them. And they did that for everybody in their life. So in the second part, we're going to take a little break because we got a commercial break coming up and we got some good sponsors. So let's take a listen to them. But in the second part, I'm going to really talk more about circulation. Okay, don't go away. We will be right back.
This is a national healthcare alert from the Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You could qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Get free delivery, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers at no charge to you. We also have other pain-relieving braces available for shoulder, ankle, and your back. Call the number on your screen right now to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business. According to the secret war, banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get the secret war free. Call the number on your screen or visit online.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Carol Carnes, in case you're just tuning in. Today's talk is titled Keep Moving, and I've been talking about how much in common the way the human body is kept in optimal health and spiritual practice have. The three words are assimilation, circulation, and elimination. You see, both the human body and the cosmos, for example, and all of nature, is a revolving cycle. It's a movement. And in the human body, if things become stasis or stuck, disease can arise. That's the beginning of disease, and it starts in the mind when we're stuck. So there's a direct correlation. And why wouldn't there be? You know, it's like fractal mathematics. The universe is made up of patterns. And one of the patterns has to do with those three things. The movement of mind is no different from the movement in the body. It is not any different. And assimilation means taking in ideas, absorbing them. I mean, the positive ones. Let's say a great idea comes to you, or you heard it from someone, or you read it, and you go, ah. Then you want to absorb that idea, think about it, repeat it out loud, maybe read some more about it, and nowadays on the internet you can Google anything, and let it become part of your perception of life. That's what spiritual teachers do, if nothing else, is they give us ideas that we can make our own, that mean something to us. Not just a lot of recitation of rules and regs, but things that really mean something to us that can help us live a better life. So we learn to assimilate ideas, take them in, and at the same time, what happens? Well, on the unconscious level, if we're putting in a lot of new, healthy, spiritualized, holistic ideas, we're eliminating the old, negative, dysfunctional perceptions because they can't occupy the same space. You can't have two thoughts at the same time. So for filling our mind with these high ideas, and I encourage you to do so, it can lift your spirits immediately. It can make your day better immediately. Then we're naturally supplanting the old. They rise up, they float up, they go away. And some of them take a little more attention, but this is how you start getting rid of those negative. People say, how can I get rid of all that negative stuff I grew up with? By giving yourself better ideas, deliberately. You know, it's like the old analogy we use in when we're teaching kids or young people. Probably not today. They're smarter than they used to be. They already know this stuff. It's changing the oil in your car. So you've got a crankcase, you open it up, and all this old gunk starts coming out. And then you start pouring in the new. And pretty soon you've got clean new oil. So all the old stuff is gone, right? That's what we're talking about. And in modern New Thought spirituality, we have a very definite system or methodology for doing that, and it's called spiritual mind treatment, where we have steps it's a logical use of the mind to bring about a new awareness in mind. And boy, does it work. If you want to come to our center some Sunday, you'll hear more about spiritual mind treatment. It's one of the best things I've ever discovered in my life and the most effective. So I promise you we talk more about circulation. You cannot have what you aren't willing to give. You are a part of a dynamic system, and it has to do with movement. Calling this keep moving. It has to do with giving and receiving. You see, giving and receiving are the same thing. It's just a circle. You give out, and it gathers force and brings its friends back with it, and you receive it. It really does multiply. So again, you cannot have anything more than you're willing to share in the world and give. When I think of all the people, like I said at the end of the first hour, that have passed on that I knew well, that I think of everything they left me. You know, some of them were great examples of what not to do, of how to not be unhappy. Some of them were great examples of pure joy. They just walk in a room and lit it up. I had a friend like that. I've never forgotten him. He died 40 years ago, and I didn't know him that well, but everywhere he went, he lit the place up. It was coming from within. He was giving of himself all the time. Some of them turned me on to books and knowledge and meditation. I learned to meditate because someone suggested it to me. Great gifts people give us. And the same with pets. You know, I haven't had a pet in a long time, but my daughter has had some of the most wonderful dogs, the smartest dogs I ever met. And they both passed on in recent years. And oh my gosh, I learned so much from them about unconditional love and playfulness. I used to play with them a lot. So everybody, everything, you know, even the virus that comes and makes you sick for a while, they're giving you a little lesson in how wonderful health is and how great it is to honor the body and care for the body and make sure it stays vital and strong, right? Yeah. Everything's giving us a gift. Even, you know, where we live now, it's the end of summer, but you see a lot of little lizards. The other day I went out on my patio to sit down, and instead of just sitting, I picked up the pillow that was on the back, and this lizard jumped up. I said, oh my gosh, if I hadn't picked up that pillow, it probably would have crawled on me and I would have had some reaction. But those lizards eat bugs, and they do things to the soil. They're necessary, right? Everything is. So everything is doing its thing. It's only humans that get blocked up. It's only humans that say, I can't, I don't have, and stop the process. And the process is creative. The process is life becoming more of what is circulated. So what can you circulate today? You know, if even a smile for everybody you meet, sharing a funny story with somebody, just making somebody laugh. This morning, I decided to wash 2 throw rugs I've never washed, had them for years. And I put them in the wash machine, and then I opened up and I said, okay, let's see how you guys did. And you can't even imagine what I saw. It was like someone had shaved a bear and put it all in the washing machine. I mean, they completely disintegrated. It was nothing but piles of fur. And I laughed and laughed and laughed. And I had to call my neighbor over to see it because I had to share it with someone. So that's my little gift for the day to myself. But seriously, you don't have to be wealthier than you are now to circulate your money more consciously. All of us spend money on stuff that if we thought about it, we could do without, and we could put it somewhere else that might actually make an impression on what we're trying to assimilate. You know, supporting a greater good in the world is, and a lot of people put it off. Well, when I win the lottery, when I do this, then I'll get philanthropic. But no, there's little groups such as mine. Donate to us. Just put your money where it counts, where there's something positive and good that's happening and share with it. It's circulation, and it will come back to you, pressed down and overflowing. That's the old law. You know, you cannot really remain healthy physically and mentally if you're not circulating, if you're not participating. You see, this is a participatory universe, as the quantum physicists are now telling us. You know, they're really starting to back up New Thought teaching. But anyway, they say that nothing happens outside of us. We're observing, and it is our observation and our perception that causes things to take the shape they do, and that's how we participate. So you see why everything we talked about today is so important. The ideas we allow into the reservoir, the holding tank, if you will, for possibility. Those are the ideas we believe to be true. How important that is. How important it is to learn how to eliminate the ones you don't want, and understanding that there is a process by which you can do it that makes it much easier. And to circulate what you have now. And what you have now is you. What are you giving of yourself to the world? You know, I know people who do nothing but complain. That's all they do is complain. Oh, this, the weather, the street, the potholes. I hated that movie, blah, 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 blah. They're not giving of themselves. They're wasting themselves. See, and what they give in that sense will come back. So I want to leave you with some positive ideas today. I want you to repeat after me if you feel like it, because affirmations are a good way to assimilate new ideas. Okay? My life is a joy to live. My life is a joy to behold. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I love my life. I love being me. I have everything I need to circulate my good and watch it grow. Everything we need, we have it already. It's all contained in here and here. This is the path right here. The local and the infinite, the local and the infinite. This is the sign of the infinite, right? We're in constant conversation with the infinite aspect of ourselves. So listen to it, assimilate those ideas, eliminate the other ones, and circulate what you know to be true. Okay, so we are meeting on Sunday morning at the Mesilla Valley Community Center on Calle de Santiago, and we meet at 10:30. I do a talk like this. We do a little discussion, and we have some meditation time. Very lovely way to start your morning. Actually, start your week. Or if you see it another way, end your week. Is Sunday the beginning or the ending? I don't know. It's a good thing to do on Sunday morning for sure. Also, we are on YouTube. And you can tell your friends, you know, people often are interested in this, but they're a little shy to come out on a Sunday morning. Let's tell them about the YouTube show. The YouTube channel, and you just, you know, you search Living Consciously Carol Carnes. You'll get it. And thanks to Chris Solar here at Channel 98, the Las Cruces channel, for actually putting those up for us. I think that's a wonderful thing he does. He's a very generous human being. And thank you, Chris. And you can get on my website, carolcarnes.com. And you can email me at ccarnes7@gmail. I'll answer your emails and answer your questions. So in the meantime, till we meet again, stay tuned in to your higher self. See you soon.